I'm going to quickly try to show you how to put a new carb assembly on this HSSK50. This would be similar to the HSSK80 and 100. You have to take off a cover here first. Simply take this cover off. You can get that cover off, then I'd say you're probably good enough to do this if you pay attention. So you need a 7/16 wrench to back this bolt out. Should loosen that buddy up. Sometimes you got to hold the stud behind it here to get it out, which is what I'm actually doing with my finger, the hand below the carb body you see right now. Back that nut off, put it in your magnetic tray if you have it. It'd be easiest to get this fuel line off, so if the unit has the shut off, just verify that's in the off position. Pull your clamp, break the rubber rust. Be careful with that line. This line is probably honestly, it sounds crazy, but it's probably the hardest fuel line that I know of that ever needs replaced, would be this one. It does not generally happen in a couple minutes. It can take hours. We'll do that in another video if we need to, or if anyone likes to see it, because that one took years to figure out effectively, honestly. I've tried to get around it many times. Take your other bolt out. Actually, I have seen other shops or other people I've seen take this line, instead of running it through there, run it around the side of the engine, just because it can be very, very tedious getting back in if you don't know the proper way to do it. Got that bolt off. Okay, so let me pick that up so I don't lose anything. Okay, I don't know where that went at the moment. Here it is. Got it. Okay, so we got that. Probably should have removed this first, but you know, they both, no matter what order you do it, it'll still accomplish the same thing. Phillips head screwdriver to remove this additional linkage, which basically just transfers the movement from this position to that position. That's what this rod does. Take that off. Okay. Place that there. Keep in mind which area this is. These linkages. There's 5 holes here and 2 holes there. If it's never been torn apart before, you could just utilize that as reference to which way it should go back together. We got the 5 holes here. And we got 2 holes there. So this one's in this position. I'm gonna make it in this for you guys who might mess it up, or someone else tore it apart. It'd be the one above my fingertip right now. If you're looking at this carb body, the one above my finger right now. Okay. Now go ahead, remove this. Turn the carb counterclockwise and remove. Oops. I'm going to set that down for a second. There's a primer line here as well. Okay, but when you turn this is an S bent linkage, so there's an S in this. When you essentially, you're allowing this to position itself to come off of that S without bending it. I've seen them things bent so many times, and I do understand why. I used to do it myself. But there's very rare instances where you have to bend this to remove it. I think there's only maybe 1 or 2 machines in which I would say I bend that to move it. So now put that back on. That's your new one. It's that simple. This one I purchased off Amazon here. I actually was just purchasing more of them because I like to keep this one in stock. It said I started purchasing this exact style from Amazon, said September of 2019. So I'm not saying I purchase all, or not even probably 30% of my parts on Amazon. That's probably about the ratio. But the parts that I do go to Amazon for, and I generally trust with Amazon, They are very affordable, effective, and I dropped the nut again. Affordable, effective, and honestly, the ease of use that Amazon has provided. I don't really know Jeff Bezos personally, so I'm not going to say anything on him as an individual per se, but I can tell you he hit the nail on the head when it came to ease of use and efficiency. And I mean, I can accurately time jobs generally according to at least the parts arrival, especially when I utilize Amazon as the resource. I'm just familiar with how that process works at this point, and it's been effective. So now I'm just utilizing this pick set because it was the closest thing to me. Has a little flat surface in there that'll give me something to press behind that stud, and it's not all the way seated there. There we go. Got that back in. Put your nuts back on here. Once again, these are 12 millimeter or 12 Mickey Mouses. There we go. That's a Nick Wallace statement. Not saying if he's listening to this, I hope he's doing good for himself out there. But that's where I got that from. Mike and Nick. Mickey Mouses. Okay, primer line back on, and my linkages back on in place. Tighten these bolts back up. Don't forget your fuel line and your fuel line clamp. And then once we get that on, we have to remember to turn the fuel source back on so the carburetor can then refill. And if all goes accordingly, this will run and idle and function as it should. This bolt's kind of spinning back there, so I'm going to grab my right angle needle nose, which just to hold that bolt in position while I continue to snug it up over here if I can fit everything. Come on, Betsy. There we go. It's always nice to have an assortment of different tools because you never know what's going to fit at what specific time. And keep this kid friendly, but that's kind of what you hope. She said. Okay. It's almost tight there. This can be a little bit of a tighter area to work on this body style. It's still spinning back there some. So I'm going to grab a different pair of pliers here quick. A couple. This is a little less of an angle, which actually is perfect. That's what I mean. A plethora of assortment. Okay, nice and snug. I get them pretty good. I mean, I don't like leaving these loose, and most importantly, equally tight. No matter how tight, make sure they're at least evenly tight. That's probably the most vital part of this to me. If they're not equally tight on both sides, that gives more room for the opportunity for an air leak to occur, as it doesn't necessarily mate quite perfect every time. I'm hoping this is one of them styles that rotates. Oh, I'm not really liking the way that sounded. I would have to get the proper wrench if I'm going to try to rotate that anymore, which it's nerve-wracking to even go for. But if I put the right wrench on it, it might feel different than it does right now with the pliers. So let's see if that will. Okay, see? Rotate that so it's in line with the fuel line a little better. Reseat that. Get your clamp back over. And trying to make this as quick as possible for you guys so you don't have to listen to me blab. I'm good at that. Okay, there we go. Turn your fuel back on. Hit your primer button. Make sure your throttle is up off of the kill position there. Alright, so it's not 100% perfect at the very moment. I like to run a little bit higher than that, but regardless, that's the general idea how to replace a carburetor on an HSSK50 Tecumseh or MTD yard machine snowblower. Like, share, subscribe if you want to keep up to date or more how-to videos of this nature. Alright, be blessed.